So here's a humdinger. Okay. So over here we have the host. Over here we'll have a client. You can see us moving around. You can see us crouching and jiggling. That's fun. Now if I go over here and I find the switch, you see it turns off that door. Yes, it's the opposite. I know it's broken, but it's turning off that door. And indeed, if I look on my ship and on that switch itself, oops, you'll see it's getting toggled on and off, right? Boom, 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 boom. Let's see if I can get this guy on here. Okay, he can't see the door for some reason. That's another weird thing with Unity. But you can see here he's toggling on and off this gun, because that makes sense. So, gun here, not here, right? And if he was toggling that door, you wouldn't see the door going here either. But if the server does it, happens just fine. So, my query is what the hell's going on? Oh, look at that. So if the server does it, it can control stuff. Oh no, that music's terrible. I'm sorry. But so the server is controlling it, right? I'm changing that variable, and so it's happening there. So what is weird about that is if the client does it, it doesn't happen here. Alright? On this client. It'll happen on the server, but not on the client. Even though, conceivably, these variables are being synced across the network. I know they're being synced across the network because when the server does it, he can toggle it on and off, right? So clearly that's being synced. So let's take a look at the code and see what's going on. Basically, I have a list of states that I'm syncing. I don't even think I use that anymore, actually. So the player goes over here, he interacts with something, and he's saying, I want to interact with the index of this object, which doesn't really matter, it's just the index I'm using to reference what interactable on the ship is referenced on this iStates synced list of structs here. I know that sounds like a mouthful, and it is. And then I send it this, which just means to turn it off. Because if I go to the ship, or if I go to command interact, this is a command, so I'm setting this up to the server. I'm saying find this interactable and this type of interaction I want. And the type of interaction I want is 0, which means I'm going to toggle it on and off. Okay. Again, huge mouthful, but what it's doing is it's basically finding the ship, and it's finding in this sync list the interactable thing that I want to toggle, and it's toggling it on and off. Then, in the update function of the ship, which is way down here, it's saying, okay, for every interactable in the array I have, match it up with an iState in that list up there, and make sure its variables match. So if it's inactive, it's inactive on the local version. So that's what makes it happen, whether it's on the server or not. So that's why when I go into like here, actually I'll show you. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Alright. Here we have our ship. It's got a list of interactables, which are the hard-coded references to different interactables. And then down here, it's got our list of sync states, which aren't serialized, so you can't really look at them yet. But when I toggle one off, it toggles that off, right? And conceivably, the ship is linking those up, and we know that it's linking them up because we're seeing that bool being flipped. Remember when I was You could see it getting flipped. However, on each of these interactables, let's say I don't know, the switch 1, there's an interactable script, right? And this interactable script is looking at its ship, and it's going, "Hey, mate, what's the deal? Am I active or not?" And this is being toggled by the ship, right? So the ship's doing that. And this thing is looking at that and saying, is the object I'm referencing, so if I'm like a switch and I'm set to off, I'm going to turn off the doors. And it's turning that on or off. So sorry if that was quite convoluted, that's just how it is. So the real question is, why is the ship seeking the variables just fine, but the interactables are not? That is the question, because if you look over here, I got my ship, right? And it's got a network transform script. It's got, these don't even do anything really, but whatever, I'll leave them on. This is like that, so nothing's toggled. It's not server only, it's not local player only. And these switches, these bools get flipped, so that's good. So what the hell's going on? Do these need a network transform? It's worth a shot. Let's find out. Network transform and a network transform. Let's get some on these doors here. Network transform and what? Let's see. Hatch network transform. No idea if this does anything, but worth a shot. Okay, so now I'm going to build and run. This is the kind of weirdness I'm dealing with. Just like a lot of little different moving parts. But the weird thing is some of the triggers, like, sometimes are accessible. Whoa, cool. So this guy's gonna be a client. So as you'll see here, sometimes that's just telling you what you're over. So on this screen, I'm toggling on and off. On my own client, I'm not. Over here, let's see if my guy finds it. Nope, he doesn't find it because he's a total noob. But he can toggle guns on and off. So here's where it's weird, right? I'm toggling this on and off as the server, okay? And it's showing up on the client. As the client, I am toggling the door on and off, as we can see here, which means that variable is getting synced. But if I try to toggle the gun off, it only toggles it off on the server and not on me. Which would make you think like, okay, well, maybe this variable is not being synced. But it is, because if I'm the server, I can do that. So why would the server be able to do it? Not only activate it, make it appear, whereas this guy can make it disappear, but only on the server. So next phase is to try something a little cray-cray. So remember how I added those network transforms? I'm gonna do local player authority. That means the guys kind of own them. We're gonna see if that does anything for us. Probably won't, but worth a shot. A lot of this is just trial and error. until I figure out how to reliably do this. I'm gonna make this a little smaller. It's getting annoying. Having a deal. Okay. Hosting it. Client. Alright, so I'm off to a good start. Switch. Still switching it on the server, not on the client. Let's see if the server can do it. Server can still switch it on both. So why? Server can switch it on both. Toggle guns on and off. But this guy cannot. He can only toggle it on the server. So the real question is, why can the client change things on the server but not change things on himself, whereas the server can change things on everybody? The stranger part is, I'm going to get rid of all these network transforms because I don't think they do anything for me. The stranger part is that what? Oh, the stranger part is that the variables are getting swapped across the network. So that part is working as expected. So by all means, it should be syncing, or it should be reacting appropriately locally, because it's not checking whether or not you're on the network or not. See right here, it's just a normal update function. And on the player, for example, we say, where's my little crouchy thing? Where's my crouching? I change my sprite based on whether or not I'm crouched. So maybe it's because it's a client callback? Is that really why? That seems silly to me, but let's find out. Using Unity engine dot networking. Make this a network behavior, and I'm going to put that right there. Okay. Boom. So what am I doing? What would that do? Client callback would just mean that it's only being called on the client, not functioning over the server, which may be what I want, or it could totally not be. Bong. Alright. Nope, not working. So that didn't do it. Huh. Did that not work either? Weird. Let's try that again. Yes, the client is ready. Yeah. That makes sense. Okay. So, that didn't do anything. Welcome to my life at the moment. Not understanding why things don't work when by all means they should. Like, this is what I don't get. This is a totally like offline thing. So by all means it should be moving. Should be doing stuff. And for some reason, it's not.